Welcome to this edition of Take 5. Today, I'm super excited to have as my guest Rob Catlin. Rob is Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Endo, and Endo is an exciting company that's got a product right around the corner. Already been through phase 2 and phase 3 trials. So many of you have seen this product perhaps in some of the publications, and it is to reduce cellulite. Rob, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Steve. Great to be here with you.
Can you tell us a little bit about CCH, so for some of our viewers who don't know what it is?
Yeah, exactly. CCH it's Clostridium, collagenase Clostridium histolyticum, and it is what it does. One thing, it eats types 1 and 3 collagen. So it's really the flagship molecule of Endo, and currently there's 2 on-market indications that it treats in the form of Dupuytren's contracture and Peyronie's disease. And as Endo is looking at life cycle management opportunities, the treatment of cellulite rose to the top. So the CCH product itself is actually a different formulation and different presentation than the on-market product, so it'll be completely different. But it's intended to treat the appearance of cellulite, and we're very excited. Our file is at the FDA, and we have a July 6th PDUFA date, so we're very excited about that, and are very hopeful for an approval.
So I know the market's really excited about injectable cellulite, so that's interesting. And I think your PDUFA date got pushed down, or your approval date to be evaluated by the FDA has got pushed down. So how has COVID affected, and this is a question number 1 of our 5 questions, how has COVID affected Endo and the launch of CCH?
Absolutely, and COVID has a profound impact on the company. And maybe I can talk about the company more globally than focus on aesthetics, but it's really reinvented the way that we've been working over the last 2 months. We've accelerated the use of technology across all of our business, and I think that this new way of working is actually going to help us not only now, but in the future. But it's not been just technical advances during COVID. It's really focused on business agility. And one of the things about Endo is that we've got 3 main segments of our business. And for example, one of them is focused on sterile injectables. These are critical care and medically necessary medicines that are offered in the hospital setting. And because of COVID, we've seen a real increase in demand for these products. So I'm just really proud of my colleagues who have really been agile in reacting and how this has been effective. But what they've done is they've done enhanced safety measures. They've done modified work schedules, increased social distancing, enhanced screening protocols, but they've really risen to the occasion and met the demand for customers and ultimately for the patients. So from an Endo perspective, you're seeing some changes in work operating within agility. Now, from an aesthetics perspective, there have been really 2 important changes due to COVID. We've stated since we started Endo Aesthetics 2 years ago that we want to stay as close as we can to aesthetic physicians. And as a company without an approved aesthetic product, we really want to understand and refine understanding of aesthetic physicians and their needs. And so during this time of ambiguity, we're paying extra close attention. We're using and doing all the listening through virtual advisory boards, virtual one-on-ones, phone calls, understand what this market will look like when we try to come to the market with a product. And it's really important for us as we learn more that we can actually enter the market in a way that's sensitive to the practices we like to serve, that seeks permission for interaction, and really conducts the interactions in a preferred manner. And with all that, through all the listening, we've actually made the decision, based on what we're hearing from aesthetic physicians, we decided to move our launch, assuming approval, from Q4 of this year into Q1 of next year. And the reason behind that is this is a really complex time because of all the listening we're doing. We're understanding the aesthetic physicians are doing a lot of changes. They're creating new protocols for safety, for staff, and for patients. They're going to limit the interaction of non-essential staff, space out the time in between treatments, and they'll be doing a lot of working at night and the weekends to make up for lost revenue and to attend to those patients. So our PDUFA date is actually holding to July 6th. But we're going to assuming approval, make that decision to push that to Q1 of next year's. We think we have the opportunity to launch a category-creating product, and there's going to be a high touch point. And our goal is to be the.
What's a Category 3 product?
Pardon me?
What's a Category 3 product? You said a Category 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a category-creating product because it's such new, innovation. So we definitely want to make sure that we're entering the right way. And if we think that based on the early infancy of this new normal, that Q4 would not be the right time.
Okay, so that's a lot of great information you just gave me. A couple points I want to mention from what you just said is that so you're a company that's diversified, you're not just aesthetic, and you're also still viable because you're offering other products that you can maybe use in this current COVID time outside of aesthetics. But you also mentioned that you're entering the aesthetic market and you recognize that there's additional stresses on the aesthetic market and on the aesthetic marketplace. Do you think the aesthetic patient's going to change? Do you think cellulite is something they're going to want to have treated when they come out of this COVID crisis?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. I think it's a great question. First of all, I believe in the long-term viability of this market, and it's grown every day. I've been in the space for about 16 years, and this is a strong, resilient market. Everyone from the physicians to injectors to office managers to the reps to marketers, it's a strong group. And so I believe in that. And I think the demographics of the population with the focus on health, wellness, and beauty, I think the long-term I'm very bullish in the long-term viability of the market. In the short term, I think this is going to change very dramatically. It's a scary and complex time, and depending on when states open up, aesthetic offices are going to need to adapt very quickly to the needs of both their patients and staff as it relates to the spread of this virus. So, there was a great article that was published last week. It's called Project Aesthetic Cert. I think it was actually endorsed by AAFPRS, but
it was in our journal, Plastic Surgery and Aesthetic Medicine, yes.
Absolutely. I think it's a great article on practical ways that offices can prepare to keep both themselves and their patients safe. And I think it's vitally important that HCP offices, with industry support, place patient safety, specifically around the spread of this virus, at the top of the priority list. Now, as it relates to
industry support, how do you define that?
I think it goes back to what I just mentioned in terms of how we're approaching the market. I think when offices start opening back up, industry needs to be very sensitive. This is not about us. This is about the safety of your patients and getting this market back up. So, I think being sensitive to reentering, I think seeking permission for interactions with HCPs and really conducting the interactions in a preferred manner. And that might be virtually, especially in the beginning. And Kaylee, I think it's a great segue because that's exactly what we're trying to do right now during this time. Is we're Endo Aesthetics, we're trying to reimagine a new operating model. I think there's a lot of inefficiencies we're finding in the market, and I think there's some great opportunities on both the industry side and physician side to become better, to help make this market even better in the long term. And so we're really investing in looking at a lot of these virtual platforms, these virtual enabling programs for your patients. So I think there's, this is a really scary time. It's a complex time, but I think that the innovation and the evolution that's going to come out of this market is going to make this market even better.
So that leads into my question number 3. And I want right now is a time period when the head and neck seems to be particularly at risk because the viral load seems a little bit higher. And if we're doing procedures in the head and neck, many people might be scared, including patients and doctors. They may not want to take their masks off. And treating cellulite might be a great alternative right now in this time period. So moving forward, when you guys do get approval, or hopefully get approval, we're going to want to treat other areas besides the head and neck. How do you plan as Endo to stimulate the market, both for physicians and for the consumers?
I think it's a great question, and thank you for your comments. And I've heard that from other physicians as well. At this point, Endo Aesthetics does not have an approved product. However, should CCH for cellulite be approved, and again, our PDUFA date is July 6th, I'm confident that we have the opportunity to bring meaningful, disruptive innovation to the market. And as you mentioned, there's currently no FDA-approved product. There's no FDA-approved injectable treat cellulite. In fact, the vast number of physicians I speak to aren't even discussing or bringing up cellulite. So I think with the approval of this product, we have the opportunity to open up a new conversation that you can have with your patient. I think that's meaningful. Moreover, Endo is really well known in the space of men's health and orthopedics of stimulating and driving direct-to-consumer activation. And at Endo Aesthetics, we understand that we're going to have to invest significantly in direct-to-consumer activation, educate women on the etiology and what CCH could potentially do upon approval. So I think between the combination of bringing disruptive innovation to the market and then stimulating it with direct-to-consumer activation, we have the opportunity to stimulate and lift the entire aesthetic market.
Yeah, certainly this is an area where many women suffer from cellulite, and maybe it's undertreated right now. So we're excited about that. Question number 4, will Endo bring in any other aesthetic products or services to help balance CCH or that portion of the market you plan to go into?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think cellulite at this point is a major unmet need. And so all of our focus at this point has been on strategizing and building competencies and getting ready, prepared for the launch of CCH. We want to be singularly focused on the development of our product and our business activities to support the launch. Now, that being said, there's obviously a lot of life cycle management opportunities with CCH or cellulite. And so I think areas of the thigh and potential other areas where you might want to eat types 1 and type 3 collagen. And upon success, we'll see what happens. But I'm very excited about the future of Endo Aesthetics being a major player moving forward.
If somebody wants to learn more about CCH products, they can go to the publications. Can you direct us to those publications, or how can we get more information about those publications?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have a website, www.endoaesthetics.com, and we'll be providing updates on our development program and our company moving forward. And obviously, we've got a significant publication plan for both presentations and for journals when it comes to CCH or cellulite. And we're very proud of my colleagues in R&D. And in the very near term, obviously, a lot of the conventions and congresses are sort of being delayed. But in the near term, we've got some exciting data that is scheduled for presentation at VCS in August, at ASPS in September, and then at ASDS in October. So we're very excited about the future, and please stay tuned.
Okay, your last and final question. This is kind of a personal one. What do you like best and what do you like least about being in isolation for 6 weeks now?
Well, I want to say, I want to acknowledge, obviously, this has been a very complex time, and my heart and thoughts go out to all those who've been affected by COVID. This has been a scary time, and I do want to give a shout out to all the medical professionals in the front lines who are helping to take care of patients. That being said, as it relates to me in the day-to-day, I need a haircut like it's yesterday. I am about 1 or 2 weeks away from a mullet, a full-blown mullet, and unfortunately, I live in North Carolina, and the barbershops and salons aren't scheduled to open up for a few more weeks. So I might be going off Zoom calls here in the near future. But I'd also say that COVID has been very meaningful for me for 2 ways, both personally and professionally. I've got to spend a lot more time with my family and my daughters, and being able to slow down. I've been fortunate enough to teach both of my daughters, 5 and 8, to ride a bike over the last 2 weeks. And so being able to have dinners, I mean, that warms my heart. And due to my job, there's trade-offs and sacrifices I've had to make. But COVID has really allowed me to slow down and spend more time with my family, and that's been very meaningful. Now, from a professional standpoint, again, I think there's a lot of inefficiencies in the aesthetic market, both on the physician side and the industry side. And it's given us an opportunity to reimagine a new operating model. So I'm very excited about the things we're thinking about. We've been able to recruit a lot of really talented people, and we're going to pick things back up in August. But I'm very excited about the future. And I think that when we, hopefully when we do get approval, we can come out and bring that really disruptive innovation that the space, I think, really needs.
All right, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Rob, for doing this Take 5 with me, and a lot of great information about Endo and CCH, and I'm going to be optimistic about the future and where it's all headed.
Thanks, Steve. Me too.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.